Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's March the 30th. Tomorrow's the 31st. And so goes the madness. It's gone, I thought. And then I'm bringing on Joe D'Amico on today's show. The madness has just began. And also his beautiful wife, Joe and Dion. How are you, my friends?
We are doing great. Thank you for having us.
You're great, Russ. I'm a friend of yours for many, many years. People out there may not know this, but we're a little older than we look. We just look really good. It's those Italian genes, Russ. But we've been friends for many years, and it's an honor for me to be here with you. And thank you for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure for me to have you on. So in any event, these two have a very popular show. They call themselves the First Family of Las Vegas, and that's what they're known as. And every day, Monday through Friday, I should say, at Sports Memo, they do a show in the morning. Joe and Dion, fill me in fill the viewers in. I know what you're doing there. I'm on every Friday with you, and I love it.
That's right.
So fill the viewers in on your show, what it's all about and what they can look forward to.
Well, Russ, we have you on every Friday. I'm a big music lover, and every band I've ever seen and every show I've ever seen always closes with their biggest hit. So we have you on every Friday because you are our biggest hit. We love having you, and it's an honor to be a part of your show. Dion, why don't you tell them a little bit about our show?
Yeah, so we are called the First Family of Vegas. We tape Monday through Friday on behalf of Sports Memo. You can find us on YouTube every weekday. We are joined by some of the best handicappers, analysts, and bettors on the planet. And each show we give out free winners for you for that day's card. And like we did mention, Ross is our regular on every Friday's show.
And Ross, we kind of got a niche here because in the history of this business, there's never been a married couple that went on the air regularly.
Absolutely.
And, and it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. We give good, solid content. But, every day, as you're a married guy, every day it's like waking up and it's a whole new day, no matter what happened the day before. So no matter what I did or did the day before, how we wake up in the morning is kind of how the show goes. And there are times that she wants to kill me, which is understandable.
It's got to be tough some mornings. It's got to be. But anyway, you guys do awfully well. You'd never know it. Go ahead.
Russ, but there's days she wants to kill me. There's days, believe it or not, although she's a saint and she should be canonized as saint for putting up with me for 22 years, there's days I want to kill her, but it's always positive on the show.
But it's nice that we get to actually experience doing the show together and being a couple and showing the world that, a couple can enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah. On
a daily basis and have fun with it and give out winners.
And Ross, I gotta be honest, you know me a long time. I'm an egomaniac, but I am all for all for equal rights. I am all for equal rights. And I love it when the woman can not just enter a boys club, but knock down the door, kick it in, and do well in what is predominantly a boys club, which is sports and sports betting, but it really isn't. Many years ago, you walked into a sports book in Vegas, Ross. There were no women. The only women were the cocktail waitresses, to be honest with you. And now you go into a sports book in Vegas, whether it's March Madness, the Super Bowl, or any time throughout the year, it is about 30, 40, 45% women. It's girls hanging out with Oklahoma jerseys on, Syracuse jerseys, with Dallas Cowboys, with New York Yankees. So I love it. And I love the fact that Dion, when she started this professionally and being documented, she was a leaderboard fixture. All through college football season, she did well in NFL. She did well in NBA, but she is at or near the top of college basketball since the opening day of the season. My reputation speaks for itself. I'm just glad to see that there are two D'Amicos, names and lights, that aren't on a Rico statue. So I'm very happy about that.
I was waiting for that to come. Anyway, look at if you haven't checked out their show at Sports Memo, please take a second to do so, folks. I can tell you right now, if you watch it once, you're going to be back. You're going to enjoy it. A lot of good information. Like they both just told you, they have some top-notch handicappers on there, including myself on Fridays. And, Joe brings it with his energy, Dion with her beauty and her looks. But I could tell you this right now. I know there's a stereotype out there with some people that women are just part of the sports betting industry right now because it's a pretty face and it captures the male audience. you'd be sadly mistaken if that's the label you put on this young lady, because you look at her stats right now, folks. I mean, we rate our plays at Sports Memo. Mostly it falls between the area of 3% to 10%. Okay. And how we rate that, for example, you start with a $10,000 bankroll. A 10% play would be $1,000 bet. A 5% play would be a $500 bet, and so on down the line. We do not do 6, 7, 8, and 9, by the way. Dion, 10-3 with their last 10% plays. So that's $1,000 a game. Take away the juice, somewhere around $6,700 she's made. And then Joe, between his 5% and 10% plays combined, 34-13 with the last 47. Now, I know we have a lot of fun on the show. Joe's got a hell of a personality, a lot of energy. Dion is as sweet as they come, but it doesn't end there. These guys win, and you'd be sadly mistaken to underestimate this young lady. And this guy over here, he's been doing it a long time successfully. And you know what, folks, I always tell you, if you've been in this business and have longevity, there's a reason why, because you don't last if you don't. And me and Joe have been doing this for quite a while. And I could tell you firsthand, we've seen many, I mean, multitudes of people come and go. And now you got these, a lot of guys getting into this industry because they had 2 good weeks of betting and they think they're a pro. Okay. It's about having success over the long haul. And that's what we do here. So anyway, you know, we were talking off air, and again, we're going to be covering 3 out of 5 games in the NBA on Thursday, the 31st. You're going to get a free pick from each one of us. But before we get to that, we were talking off air, and we were talking about how tough it is to try to make a pick in the NBA these days early. For a multitude of reasons. It seems like Joe is mentioning, and I don't want to steal his thunder. I'll let him take it away, about just these minute injuries that keep players out these days that didn't used to 20 or 30 years ago. And Dion had some points to make as well. So Dion, why don't I start with you and pretty much reiterate what we discussed off air?
Yeah. So, you know, it's tough for us to, you know, find a game with value and to get you paid the day before the games even go off, because let alone the morning of, you know, there's so many people, they have injury lists that just go on and on.
They look like a Bill Belichick midweek Patriots injury report.
Right.
You know, Dion, but
yeah,
it's crazy.
And
it's crazy.
And even on that day, you still don't even know if who's on that injured list is even going to wind up playing, or if someone who's not on the injured list all of a sudden at the last minute is not going to be playing. So it's tough, you know, that morning even to figure out who's going to be playing, and it makes it really tough. And I think this year and last year were probably the toughest years out of all of NBA to try and figure out.
Especially with COVID in the mix too. I mean, right now the COVID, thank God, the COVID pandemic has subsided a bit. We don't know what the future is going to bring, but you know, there was a period of time, guys, last year and even the beginning of this year, where you didn't know who was going to test positive the day of the game or 3 hours before. And you get a key player like a Kevin Durant, for example. I'm using him as a hypothetical example. I'm not sure he even had COVID over the course of the season. He probably did, but a guy like that, you take him out of the lineup, it shifts the line 4 or 5 points. I could tell you right now exactly what Dion's saying. I asked them guys to give me a couple NBA games, and I says, you pick the 2 games you want to use. I'll pick from the other 3. They gave me 2 games. Lo and behold, one line changed from just this morning until we got out, just before we came on air, 1.5 points, and another game changed by 4.5 points. Now, a lot of that you can't get too caught up with, folks, because in the old days, when you saw a line move, you didn't see line moves of 4.5, 5 points in the NBA. Now, you first thing you look at it, who's out? What key player is missing? Anyway, Joe, your turn to let us all know how you feel about this.
Well, it's many years ago. I've been in Vegas 32 years. And when I first got here, there was somebody who was known as the most connected, unconnected guy in Vegas. He was the biggest bookmaker in the country, and he was a dear friend of ours. And I worked with him. I didn't work with him in a bookmaking operation. As a matter of fact, if you ever watched the movie Casino, Joe Pesci character owned the Leaning Tower of Pizza. He actually owned the Leaning Tower of Pizza across from the old Aladdin, and all of his businesses were fronts for him to take action, and they were all successes. He owned dry cleaning, florists. He owned the Leaning Tower. Great guy, but he always taught me, and the guy never sweated a day or a game in his life, because he always said, Joe, whatever I lose today, I'll get back tomorrow. But also he taught me it's always about the number. It doesn't matter who plays and who doesn't.
Exactly.
It's about the number. And when Dion and I, we look at the games similarly, although we're not on the same games or on opposite sides very often. We look at, she has her own point of view, I have mine, but Ross, it's always about the number to me. So if a guy like, let's talk about Jordan or Johnson or Bird, who are some of the most significant players over the last 25, 30 years, if they go out and the line might swing 3 points, even for Jordan, that's it. And, nowadays, it's so, I don't care if a guy plays or not, but it's about the line movement, because the odds makers also take into consideration, even more because of technology. And back in the day, they always take into consideration who the fan favorite, who the crowd, the general
public perception, right? Yeah.
So then they inflate or deflate that line according to that. So it's not an accurate number. So I may have Kevin Durant being out, it may be a 2.5, 3.5, 4 point swing now. They may have it an 8 point swing. That affects me. They may have a 7 point swing, because they have to anticipate what the general public is doing. Because God forbid any of these books. Back in the day, it didn't matter, Ross. I remember Gene Mayday on the Strip. I was in there one day. A guy walked in with $1 million. Says, I want to bet $1 million in the game. He says, open up the briefcase. I want to count it. He opened it up. He says, take it. He didn't look at a computer. He didn't call his superior. He said, I'll take it. And according to him, he says, if I win it, I win the $1 million. If I lose it, I get it back tenfold in publicity. What difference does it make?
Yeah.
And that's how it is these days. Everybody's worried about the number and the line and losing $1. Guys like, we both know the guy that runs the South Point, Jimmy V. He does it well. He never sweats a game. He never sweats it. But to me, it's about the number, and it's really hard these days. And I'll tell you where I feel it. We get all our plays up kind of early, and it's tough. We get them up early. We're up at midnight, 1 a.m. I get up before roosters get up. I'll tell you that. So we get up before farmers get up, Ross, and we do our numbers.
Are there farmers in the state of Nevada, Joe? I didn't know that.
Of course there are. Of course there are. I don't know any of them. But
I thought the farmers are the guys who dig the holes in the desert where they. Never mind. Go ahead.
I know a couple of those guys too. But Ross, we get up, we do our games, we get them up because we want to know what we're going to talk about while we do our morning show. And unfortunately, we get them up early, and I feel bad for me and Darren because we bet our own games. Yeah. But I feel bad for the guys that don't bet, that don't have the money we have to bet on games, because we bet our own games pretty heavily. Who's, shoot, Kevin Durant is on, shoot, this guy's on. And the line moves, and they took a beating, and then they lose the game. A couple of weeks ago, I had the Knicks. I took points with them. They pulled Julius Randle an hour and a half before game time. The game was up at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The game was I believe, a 4:05 p.m. game. They pulled Julius Randle. The line moved. They lost by 6. I think the line moved to 5.5. I felt horrible. And I felt horrible for the players.
I moved to 4. I only know that because I had the same game. So that goes to show you brilliant minds work alike, and sometimes they get screwed alike.
And Ross, people may not realize this about you or me or Dan or people like us. There are people like us that we care if we win or lose for those people that put their trust in us. Absolutely. I take a lot of pride in knowing. Listen to me. If I win 10,000 on a game or lose 10,000, yes, it affects me. But it doesn't affect me as knowing that I let some of the people down, because I know I'm 24 hours away from picking 10 times back up. It doesn't bother me as much as a business to me. But to people out there that put their hard-earned money and they trust people like myself, you, Dion, and they lose their money, especially because they pulled Julius Randle at the last damn minute, it bothers me. It hurts me. And I got to make it up to them. So I want you to know, sports fans out there, we don't just go, we'll get more clients tomorrow. We care about you. We really do.
Yeah, we could re-up later in the day and bet the Knicks at a higher number and hope for the best, or you could cancel a bet, lose a little money on canceling it, like the U.S. sports books allow you to do now, and then re-up at the real number it is presently. So yeah, it really puts us in a dilemma at times. But you know what, Joe and Dion, it's an equal playing field for all of us when it comes to that. And Joe makes a good point too, folks. Number one, money management's a key. Okay. You shouldn't be betting money you can't afford to. I always say when clients tell me what should be my sports betting bankroll, well, it should be whatever you, if indeed you set a bankroll and you lose it all within a week, okay, which you shouldn't do. Okay. But if you do, is it going to change the quality of your life tomorrow?
Ross, I tell you what, now I do work with people one-on-one, and I have for years. People call me up and say, I need your help, blah, blah. Just for an example, and I won't say specifics, I have a guy, he's the CEO of one of the largest clothing companies in the world. Gotta be worth 500, 600, 700 million. He likes to bet a dime a game. That's his comfort zone, guys. Yeah. Whatever you're now, I've got a guy been a friend to me for many years. He's a baccarat dealer on the strip. I'm not going to say that he works at Caesar's Palace, but he works at Caesar's Palace.
That would be unprofessional.
I want you. Yes, horrible. But I will tell you guys, he likes to bet a minimum of 5,000 a game. What your comfort zone is, what you're comfortable with, where you don't, God forbid, I always like to use extremes where you don't lose a game and punch a hole in the wall. Yeah. Don't, guys, if you can afford to win it, you can afford to lose it, and vice versa. It's very important. Money management to me, Ross, is more important than wins and losses. And I'll use an extreme. I can go 1-7, but have 10 dimes on the one winner and a nickel on the 7 losses.
Well, look at, for example, I don't mean to, let me interject here just for a second. Mm-hmm. Okay. And how you and Dion are doing, like Dion's 10-3 on her 10% plays. Mm-hmm. And Joe, 5% play and 10% plays combined. What do I got here? 34-13. I mean, so that could overcome a lot of losses. It certainly can, but you got to pick your spots, and you better have a good success rate over the long haul when you do pick your spots in that regard. Look, it's I don't mean to cut us short. I'm going to have you guys back, but before everybody pulls their hair out there because they're used to having their free picks by now, and I enjoy this. We could talk for days, right? So, Dion, I'm going to start with you. What do you got in the NBA for Thursday the 31st for the viewers?
All right. Well, many fans out on the West Coast had high hopes for the Clippers this season, and they've fallen a bit short of their expectations. Los Angeles has certainly been a hit with the injury bug, but it seems that the long, arduous campaign has taken its toll on this team. As soon as the month of March arrived, they just couldn't seem to string together consecutive solid performances. They have dropped 8 of the last 11 straight up, and just over the last 2 weeks are a dismal 1-5, both straight up and against the spread. Outside of Lonzo Ball, who has been sidelined for 2.5 months, this Bulls team is at full strength. I just don't see the Clippers keeping pace with them offensively. Chicago is 23-7 against the spread the last 30 games played as a home favorite, while Los Angeles is 1-4 against the spread the last 5 games played as a road underdog. So I'm going to go ahead and play Chicago here.
Okay, there you go, folks. Now, if you ever want to doubt a young lady that handicaps professionally, see if you could find a lot of ladies out there with the pretty faces that could give you a rundown like she just did. So the Chicago Bulls minus the 3.5 over the Clippers for Dion D'Amico. She's the one half of the first family in Las Vegas. Now the other half, a guy that when you look up the phrase, he's a character.
That's him.
Next to it says Joe D'Amico. Anyway, Joseph, give us what you got.
Well, Ross, I want you to know she's a winner because she married me, no matter what. I want you to know that.
Well, I believe she is, and I believe you are too.
I am. So can I tell you, I am blessed. I am blessed every day. I get to share my life with the love of my life. So, a lot of people, they don't do that, and I'm lucky. So thank you. So, and I get to share times like today with you, Russ. I have a free winner for everyone. Sports friends, as of taping the show, the Milwaukee Bucks are right now in the thick of things in the Eastern Conference. However, there are quite a few teams right there with them. So my point being, with just 7 games left in their regular season, they need every win they can get at this moment, guys. You may not realize this, but they very quietly, this team has won 11 of their last 14 straight up, covering 10 of those 14 outings. While Brooklyn guys, I'm not looking to take away from Brooklyn. All my people in Brooklyn, all my Italian Goombas in Brooklyn, I'm not looking to take away from this team. This is a good team. They're one of the rare teams, though, Ross, in the NBA, which own a better road record than at home. Very rare in the NBA. Not only do they lose at home, they're absolute point spread poison, guys, when playing host. 5-23-1 ATS, the last 29 at the Barclays Center. Just atrocious, guys. If you follow them and you bet them at home, you are getting crushed. You're going to have to take out a second mortgage and do it. And your kid's going to go from going to a regular school. He's going to have to go to Tallahassee Junior College. Trust me. Guys, the Bucks have dominated this rivalry, winning and covering 4 of the last 5 meetings. However, in the most recent matchup, they took a heartbreaking home loss to the visiting Nets, 126-123. I look for this team to redeem themselves here, get a little payback, beating Brooklyn on their own home turf. They're 6-1 ATS, the last 7 played on 1 day's rest. They're good coming off of 1 day's rest, guys. 7-2 ATS, the last 9 played as a road favorite. 9-3 ATS, the last 12 overall. Take the short price for Milwaukee here. You will take your bookmaker's money. I know this line swung a little bit from when I looked at it this morning to the time I got on the show. That does not scare me. I do think that emotion plays a big part, and ego, in the NBA. So when I look at a game like this, they were dominating this series. They took a beating on their own home turf. They're going to go and do the same to Brooklyn. Forget about Jay-Z. Beyonce will divorce them after this loss.
So that's Milwaukee plus 1.5 over Brooklyn. And folks, just because the guy makes you laugh, that doesn't mean he's not a big winner. All you got to do is go to the sportsmemo.com homepage. You'll see Joe is currently number 2 in the last 7 days out of all the handicappers, and number 3 over the last 30 days. That speaks volumes. Okay, so Joe D'Amico, he loves the Milwaukee Bucks, Brooks. Plus 1.5 against the Brooklyn Nets. You know, Joe, I just a quick question for you and get your opinion. And I don't want to say a quick opinion because there's no such thing with you. Right? So, the correlation between their home and away splits, I'm referring to Brooklyn, and you were eloquent in how you described that. And how much of a coincidence, or is it a fact that a lot of that has to do with the fact that Kyrie Irving can play on the road as compared to at home?
Well, it's a big deal. I mean, Kyrie Irving, any starter is going to affect that, especially a guy of his caliber. The guy can play. He is without question one of the best in the NBA. You know, certain things are in motion that he's going to be playing here and in New York. And all right, as of right now, I will tell you this: it does affect it. It obviously affects it, but when it affects it this much, I think there's some other things going on in the Brooklyn locker room. I'll be honest. You know, there's a couple of teams in the NBA we've seen over the past week. We've seen coaches and players arguing on the sidelines. We've seen it more than once in the past week. And I think this is the time of year, Ross, where you're seeing dissension, arguments, teams that aren't winning as much as they should or aren't winning at all.
The Miami Heat, perfect example. What happened a couple days ago, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the poor coach. I mean, the guy's got to go. It's not easy, sports fans, to coach any team. Now, I'm not taking the coach's point of view on this. I don't know the full story, but you've got to deal with 15 different egos, guys that are millionaires that could buy and sell you. You know, it's not easy. But I will tell you this: when people don't win as much or people don't win at all, you're going to start seeing arguments and finger pointing. And it doesn't work in from Pop Warner and Little League straight on through the high school to the collegiate level to the pros in any brand of sports, baseball, basketball, football, hockey. When you start arguing in the locker room or when you start arguing with your coaches, there's issues. It's more deep-seated than just getting a few wins. And it's something a few wins aren't going to cure. And I do think that this is a team with a ton of talent. And obviously, Ross, you made a great point. Kyrie Irving, home and away. It's a big difference when you lose any player, any starter, especially one of his caliber.
You know, Joe, let me interject again, but I'll go back to what you said earlier. If we know Kyrie Irving's out, the bookmakers certainly do. So anybody who thinks, well, Kyrie Irving's out, well, the bottom line is they make the adjustments, folks. Where we get caught is what Dion and Joe just described early in the show, is when you plan on a guy playing, there's no indication from any of the injury reports that he's not going to play, and then he bailed, like the Julius Randle situation. We had no clue that was going to happen an hour and a half before game time. So that's where you get caught a little. So anybody who thinks whether guys being out, injuries, whatever case, If we know about it, they know about it. These guys are in. I always say this, Joe and Dion, if you want to be successful in this business, being a sports handicapper or a sports bettor, you have to think like a bookmaker.
Yeah.
Right.
And me and Joe, and I could say this now because 7 years have gone by. We both worked for bookmakers and big ones in the state of New York. Okay, that's how we learned our craft. Believe it or not. So
Ross, if I may, Ross, I've never seen a week where the bookmakers lost money.
Yeah, well, I have.
Well,
But
you know what I mean by
it's
that.
rare. Okay.
They don't lose too many, is what I'm saying.
No, exactly right. So anyway, let me give you my free pick.
Sure.
Boy, oh boy, this has been fun. We got to do this again. And I hope the viewers are enjoying it as much as I am and they are. Okay. Philadelphia at Detroit. The 76ers, an 11-point road favorite. Now they're coming off back-to-back losses. They're going to be in a sour mood. They lost to Phoenix and they lost to Brooklyn in the last 2 games, I believe. 2 quality teams. Now they're playing the lowly Detroit Pistons. Before you go lowly Detroit Pistons, think again, folks. Okay. This is a team that's gone 16-1 against the spread in their last 7 as an underdog, 13-0 against the spread in their last 13 as an underdog of 4 points or more. And out of those 13 games, they all covered. They even won 6 of those 13 games straight up. So I'm not going to call up for an outright upset here. Would I be shocked if it happened? No, because look at their straight up record. They're 8-11 in their last 19 games straight up and 16-3 against the spread, including 16-1 against the spread as an underdog. Let me make this short. Having said all that, I'm not going to go into any further detail. I'm going to ride the hot horse here, and I'm going to take Detroit plus the 11 over Philadelphia. So there you have it, folks. Detroit plus 11 over Philadelphia. We got Chicago minus 3.5 over the LA Clippers from the beautiful Dion D'Amico. And then her husband, he's a character, Joe D'Amico. And that's in the dictionary. If you go to Webster's dictionary, I'm only kidding, folks. Anyway, he likes the Milwaukee Bucks plus the 1.5 over the Brooklyn Nets. Before we go, brief recap from both of you, where they can exactly what you got going on at Sports Memo. We know where you can find you.
Right now for tonight, I have a couple of games that I'm already looking at for the college basketball for the finals.
Tomorrow and for
yeah.
NIT finals, correct.
Yeah.
In the Final Four. Dion, you got some good specials going on, you and Joe too, right?
We do. We have the rest of college basketball for $49. We also have for 40% off any long-term all sports package, anywhere from a single day all the way up to a full year. You can get any of those for 40% off for either myself or Joey, and that will be available all the way through the end of April. So this is the time to get that package because both of us are on an amazing hot streak and you do not want to miss out on any of our plays. And this is the perfect time to take advantage of that amazing discount of 40% off.
Wow.
One final word, Mr. D'Amico. One final word. I don't want to say short because it's impossible. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, sports fans, I do have something else for everyone. Viewers,
we go back a ways, so we like to break each other's.
He says short because I'm only 4'11". That's why he says no. I'm kidding. Well, sports fans, Ross was nice enough to allow me to do this. I have a free pick phone each and every day. I know that sometimes maybe you don't have the money. Maybe you're small. I don't want to say small player. The world of sports betting is built on $5, $10, $25, and $50 players. But I know that sometimes you guys, maybe you're a little apprehensive about going to a website. You don't have to be. These top websites are great. But I have a free pick phone 7 days a week. I have a free pick phone. It's on a pre-recorded message line. Nobody's going to call you back. You're not going to get a salesman and say, hey, no, nothing like that. 1-800-563-8854. That's 1-800-JOE, J-O-E, 8854. Every day on a pre-recorded message line, you receive a free winner. Just since I have this free pick line, well, since like 5.5, 6 years, a record of 1,125, 594 and 20, which comes to 65% over 5.5, 6 years. Guys, 1-800-563-8854. Plus, in a week from now, we're going to be doing another show because obviously I don't work hard enough. You're gonna hear that my voice is already gone. Some people out there got an early Christmas present. My voice is going, but I will tell you, we're gonna be doing another show later on in the day. It's gonna be a little formatted differently. It's not a first family show. Dion is gonna be not a co-host. I'm the boss, so I could just throw her off anytime I want. No, but we're gonna be doing a show dedicated Monday through Friday on YouTube for Sports Memo, just dedicated to baseball. Russ, baseball is my favorite sport, and I feel if people are disciplined out there,
you can make a lot of money in baseball. A lot of money. I know that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little stingy there. I don't like to go. I will never go. But I don't care if
they don't need us for a chalk of more than 140. You know what I mean? No. I always tell people that, all you got to do is do the math, folks. Yeah. Guys are giving you 170s, 180s, and then they're telling you they're 60%. I can guarantee you, me and Joe and Dion could go 53% and make more money than some of these guys.
Absolutely. What people don't realize is if you lose one of those $2 favorites,
exactly, you got to win 3 to get ahead.
Net winners. Two and a half net winners to get back in the plus column. Be stingy, be smart, be disciplined. I don't care if Sandy Koufax is pitching on the mound with the 27 Yankees batting order behind him. You don't go above $1.40, at least in my opinion. I mean, you really can't. That's what run lines are for, and that's a whole other show. But I want you to know we're going to be doing a baseball show. We will be having some laughs, but we give good, solid content, and we're going to snag Ross a couple days a week to come on that show.
Absolutely. I'm all in, guys.
Well, we got to pretty it up, Ross. Me and Dion together just aren't pretty enough. We need you.
Anyway, folks, Joe and Dion D'Amico, the first family of Las Vegas. Find them at sportsmemo.com. I told you how well they're doing. They told you how well they're doing. And I could vouch for them at sportsmemo.com. Don't forget, check out their morning show Monday through Friday. You thought this was entertaining? You can get it 5 days a week. Guys, thanks for, I really appreciate you coming on the show. It was an absolute pleasure. And I'm going to have you on again if I would be so lucky for you to accept the invitation.
It would be an honor for us.
Until the next time, you can find me, by the way, at rbwins.com. That's rbwins.com. That's my personal website. And also at sportsmemo.com. Folks, I started doing sports memo videos Monday. I'm going to be doing them every day, Monday through Friday. So you want to check me out there as well, because I'm going to have unique content, not only here, but over there as well. So I've been giving out the same games on both networks, but I'm going to change that up a little bit because it wouldn't be fair, okay, to either party. So anyway, it's rbwins.com, sportsmemo.com. And don't forget again, Joe and Dion D'Amico at sportsmemo.com, and check out their podcast. Until the next time, good luck and God bless, folks.